biggest accelerators of this problem is food. Yes, the very food you're eating, possibly right now, might be slowly inflaming your prostate and robbing you of your mobility, your rest, and your dignity. But before we go into the details, pause and ask yourself something. When was the last time you slept through the night without waking up to pee? When was the last time you felt your legs truly rested in the morning? Not heavy, not cramping, not sore. This isn't about vanity. This is about freedom, because once your sleep goes, your energy follows. Once your energy drops, your movement declines. And once your movement fades, so does your independence. Your body is speaking loudly, but years of polite silence and bad advice have trained you to ignore it. That changes today. In this video, you'll learn about 7 foods, some considered healthy, that could be silently inflaming your prostate, increasing water retention, weakening your pelvic circulation, and throwing your hormones into chaos. And no, this isn't fear-mongering, it's prevention. You'll also understand why your current routine, from your breakfast to your late-night snack, might be the real reason your sleep is broken, your legs are weaker, and your visits to the bathroom are more frequent than ever. One of the biggest lies you've been sold is that this is just aging. It's not. It's a pattern. A pattern built by daily habits that are now taking their toll. But that also means one thing: if this was built, it can be reversed. And the first step? Listening. Not to me, not to anyone else, but to your own body. Because that stiffness you feel when you get out of bed isn't random. That urge to pee 3 or 4 times a night isn't harmless. That dull ache in your groin after walking for 20 minutes isn't just fatigue. These are signs. And this video is your guide to decoding them before they turn into something worse. So stay until the end, especially for the last food on the list, because it's the one almost every senior eats thinking it's helping when it's actually doing the most damage. And before we continue, let me ask you, where are you watching from and what time? Is it right now? Drop it in the comments. Let's see how many of us are waking up in the middle of the night together. You open the fridge, you reach for that juice labeled heart healthy, or maybe you grab a slice of whole grain bread, low in fat, high in fiber. Seems like a smart choice, right? But what if I told you that some of these everyday healthy options are silently fueling inflammation in your body, especially in one of the most sensitive areas for men over 60, the prostate? See, inflammation isn't just about swollen joints or puffy fingers inside your body. Inflammation behaves like a slow-burning fire. You don't always feel it, but it's there, weakening tissue, blocking blood flow, and disrupting hormone balance. And the prostate? It's one of the organs most vulnerable to this internal storm. Why? Because it sits at the crossroads of hormonal, circulatory, and urinary systems. And once inflammation takes root, everything gets affected. Your sleep, your strength, your masculinity. Here's the kicker. Most seniors aren't overeating fast food or guzzling soda. No, they're trying to be careful. But the foods causing the most damage? They wear masks? They hide behind healthy branding? Low fat, sugar-free, whole grain, doctor recommended. But inside, they're full of seed oils, chemical additives, and artificial sweeteners that wreak havoc on your hormonal system. And yes, that includes your prostate. Let's make this real. Imagine a sponge. Now imagine pouring thick syrup over it every single day. Eventually, that sponge clogs. It stops absorbing. That's what your prostate goes through when flooded with inflammatory compounds. It swells, slowly, silently, until one night, you find yourself struggling to urinate, and that's just the beginning. Let's talk about insulin, one of the body's most important hormones. When you eat certain carbs or sugary fruit snacks, your insulin spikes. Once, twice, maybe 5 times a day, each spike triggers an inflammatory response. This inflammation doesn't just raise your blood sugar, it feeds abnormal cell growth. And in older men, the first place that growth often appears, the prostate gland. Now remember, the prostate isn't just some isolated organ. When it swells, it compresses the urethra. That's the tube that carries urine out of your body. Result? Weak flow, urgency, that feeling like you didn't finish. You start planning your life around bathrooms. You skip long drives. You stop drinking water at night to avoid getting up. Slowly, your freedom shrinks to the size of your bladder. And here's the paradox. Many of these symptoms get dismissed as just aging, when in reality, they're the direct result of dietary inflammation, something you can control. Think about that. What you eat at 7 a.m. could be the reason you're up again at 3 a.m. Now, I'm not here to guilt you. This isn't your fault. You've been told for years that these foods are healthy, but science has changed, and the data is clear. Inflammation is the hidden culprit behind enlarged prostates, and your dinner plate might be the accelerant. In the next section, I'll reveal the first food on the list. It's in millions of senior kitchens. It's usually consumed first thing in the morning, and it could be sabotaging your sleep, your strength, and your prostate, all before 9 a.m. So stay with me, because understanding the why is the key to changing the how. Let's talk about the prostate, not as a distant medical term, but as something real, present, and central to your daily life. Most men don't think about it until it's too late, until the nights become restless, until the stream weakens, until discomfort turns into fear. But by then, the inflammation has settled in, and the growth has already begun. Here's what most people never hear. The prostate isn't meant to grow after a certain point. During puberty, yes, it expands as testosterone surges. That's normal. But once you pass 40 or 50, that growth should slow, stabilize, and stop. And yet, for over half of men in their 60s, and nearly 90% by age 80, the prostate begins growing again. Not naturally, not healthily, but abnormally. This is called BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. The word benign fools people. It makes it sound harmless, like it's just a part of life. But if you're waking up 3, 4, even 5 times per night just to urinate, if you're feeling that lingering pressure after you finish, if your stream is weak, interrupted, or takes too long to start, that's not benign. That's your body telling you something's off. Let's go deeper. Your prostate sits just below your bladder. When it grows, it presses upward, squeezing the urethra, the tiny passage through which urine flows. Imagine squeezing a garden hose. You'll still get water, but the flow is weaker, inconsistent. The same thing happens in your body. Your bladder has to work harder. It contracts more, and over time, it becomes irritated, overactive. That's why you constantly feel the need to go. That's why you wake up in the middle of the night. That's why the sleep you do get feels shallow and unrefreshing. And it doesn't stop there. An enlarged prostate can lead to urinary tract infections, bladder stones, and even kidney damage in extreme cases. But before you panic, understand this. The growth doesn't happen in isolation. It's driven by something, and more often than not, that something is chronic inflammation, which is, in turn, heavily influenced by what you eat. Here's the shocking part. Studies now show that certain dietary patterns, high in refined carbohydrates, processed oils, and artificial preservatives, are directly linked to increased prostate volume. Inflammation alters how your hormones behave, how your cells regenerate, and how your tissues grow. What starts as a subtle dietary imbalance can end in a slow, painful physical transformation. But there's more. Low-grade inflammation also affects testosterone. And as your testosterone declines, either from age or poor diet, your estrogen ratio rises. That's right, men have estrogen too. And when this ratio becomes unbalanced, it creates a hormonal environment that actually promotes prostate growth. It's a vicious cycle. Inflammation lowers testosterone, which increases estrogen, which inflames the prostate further. And what makes this worse? Most doctors only treat the symptoms: medications that relax muscles, pills that shrink glands, sometimes surgery, but they don't always address the cause, the fuel behind the fire. And unless that fuel is removed, unless the foods driving this hormonal chaos are cut out, the cycle continues. So now you understand why this matters. This isn't just a man's issue. This is your life, your comfort, your dignity. Every disrupted night, every bathroom run, every quiet worry that something's not right. That's why in the next section, we reveal the first food on the list, a food you may believe is protecting your heart, but that's actually feeding the silent swelling in your lower body. Stay with me, because the real enemy isn't just age, it's what you've been taught to put on your plate. It's sitting right there on the kitchen table, neatly sliced, served with toast or inside a smoothie. You've probably eaten it for years, believing it's heart healthy, great for hydration, and gentle on the stomach. But here's the truth. Watermelon, that sweet and refreshing fruit you likely enjoy in the summer or after meals, might be one of the hidden contributors to prostate inflammation. Let me explain. Watermelon is loaded with natural sugars, and while it contains some vitamins and antioxidants like lycopene, lepine, its high glycemic index, causes your blood sugar to spike rapidly. For someone over 60, whose insulin sensitivity has naturally decreased with age, that sugar rush triggers a hormonal cascade that leads to increased inflammation, especially in hormonally sensitive organs like the prostate. Now you might be thinking, but it's just fruit. That's exactly the problem. We've been taught to divide food into two simple categories, healthy and junk. But aging bodies don't process food like younger ones. What may be healthy for a 30-year-old marathon runner can wreak havoc on someone whose metabolism, hormones, and immune system have changed over decades. Think of your body like a sponge again, but older, less absorbent, more sensitive. A high-sugar fruit, even natural, sends your insulin into overdrive. And when that happens repeatedly, day after day, something deeper begins to stir. Chronic inflammation, silent swelling, a subtle shift in how your body maintains balance. And one of the organs caught in that crossfire is your prostate. What's more concerning is how this inflammation builds quietly. You don't feel it immediately. There's no sharp pain, no obvious alarm, just a slightly more frequent urge to pee, a few more minutes spent in the bathroom, a groin discomfort you chalk up to a long day, until one morning you realize you haven't slept through the night in weeks. And the first culprit? That innocent bowl of watermelon you had before bed. It's not just about sugar, it's about what that sugar signals. In men over 60, high sugar. Fruits stimulate excess insulin, which in turn fuels higher levels of DHT, dihydrotestosterone. DHT is one of the key hormones responsible for prostate growth. More sugar, more insulin, more DHT. And more DHT means more swelling. But the problem doesn't stop at the prostate. This same hormonal spiral affects your cardiovascular system, your brain, your muscle recovery. The foods you eat, especially sugary ones, determine how efficiently your body produces testosterone, metabolizes fat, and controls inflammation. If you're wondering why your legs feel weaker, why your belly is growing despite eating clean, or why your energy is dropping fast, this is the hidden cycle at work. Now, we're not saying to fear fruit. What we're saying is timing and quantity matter, and for someone over 60 with existing prostate issues or nighttime urination, watermelon, especially in the evening, is doing far more harm than good. Let's take it further. Most seniors consume fruit thinking they're getting fiber. But watermelon has almost no fiber, meaning its sugars absorb instantly, giving your pancreas no time to react slowly. Your body sees it more like a soft drink than a solid food. Combine that with low protein at breakfast or high carbs at dinner, and you've just created a metabolic cocktail for inflammation. It's not your fault. You were told it was healthy, but now you know better. In the next section, we'll reveal the second food, even more common than watermelon, that claims to be a natural energy booster, but secretly worsens circulation, testosterone production, and bladder control. And yes, it might be hiding in your morning coffee routine. It's small, dark, and usually comes in a shiny wrapper. You might keep a stash in your kitchen drawer or enjoy a piece after lunch. It's praised for being natural, antioxidant-rich, and even heart-healthy. But for men over IQ 60, dark chocolate, especially in its highly processed commercial form, can quietly contribute to a chain reaction of hormonal imbalance and prostate stress. Now hold on. Isn't dark chocolate supposed to be good for you? Yes, but only in its purest, least sweetened, and minimally processed form. The dark chocolate most people consume is far from that. It's often mixed with sugar, soy lecithin, milk solids, and preservatives, turning what was once a medicinal ingredient into a metabolic landmine. Let's break this down. First, sugar. Even small amounts of sugar, especially when combined with caffeine, which dark chocolate naturally contains, spike your insulin and cortisol. That double hit stimulates inflammation and increases DHT production, the same hormone responsible for enlarging the prostate. For someone already dealing with nocturia, frequent urination at night, this is a dangerous recipe. Second, the ECU caffeine content. Many seniors are sensitive to caffeine without realizing it. Even small doses late in the day, like those in dark chocolate, can subtly disrupt your sleep cycle. And disrupted sleep is one of the biggest indirect contributors to prostate dysfunction. Why? Because poor sleep lowers testosterone, weakens immunity, and reduces your body's ability to regulate inflammation. Let's say you eat a piece of dark chocolate in the afternoon. It's not much, just a square or two, but that chocolate triggers a small insulin spike. That insulin triggers a small testosterone dip. That dip over time contributes to an increase in estrogen dominance. And as we've already discussed, when estrogen rises and testosterone drops, prostate cells grow. It doesn't happen overnight, it builds, quietly, relentlessly. And let's not forget the additives. Most mainstream dark chocolates are loaded with emulsifiers and artificial flavoring compounds that irritate the gut lining. When your gut is inflamed, your immune system is constantly activated, and when the immune system is in a chronic state of alert, it starts misfiring, targeting healthy tissue, including those in the prostate. Now, picture this happening every day. A small treat after lunch, a bite before bed, just enough to keep the body's inflammatory pathways active, just enough to keep the hormonal balance tilted in the wrong direction. But there's another reason why this food is so tricky. It feels like self-care. For many seniors, a piece of dark chocolate is a reward, a moment of indulgence that feels earned. And it should be, but not at the cost of your health, your sleep, and your strength. When you're dealing with enlarged prostate symptoms, what feels good in the moment can become fuel for what's silently breaking your body down. Still, this isn't a call to cut chocolate out forever. It's a call to know the source. If you're going to enjoy dark chocolate, look for 85% cacao or higher. Make sure it's organic, with no added soy, milk, or sugar. Alcohols, and eat it earlier in the day, never at night. But more importantly, listen to your body. Are you waking up groggy, feeling bloated, needing more naps during the day? These are signs, signals, your body's way of telling you that what you're eating isn't working anymore. In the next section, we reveal two of the most common health drinks found in senior homes, both of which pretend to support vitality, but are quietly exhausting your kidneys and making nighttime urination worse. Stay sharp, because the damage is cumulative, and so is the healing. If you start making changes now, you open the fridge. 2 bottles sit side by side, one labeled immune support, the other promising energy and hydration. You reach for them without a second thought. After all, they're marketed as health drinks. But for aging bodies, sports drinks, and vitamin-infused waters can be some of the most deceptive and damaging beverages, especially when it comes to prostate health. Let's start with the obvious: sugar. Most of these drinks contain hidden sugars or sugar substitutes like sucralose, aspartame, or acesulfame potassium. These artificial sweeteners are touted as better than sugar, but in older adults, they trigger inflammatory responses in the gut, damage the delicate microbiome, and confuse the body's insulin signals. This leads to elevated insulin levels, again spiking DHT and estrogen, the perfect storm for prostate growth. Now, here's what no one tells you. When you consume these drinks daily, especially in the afternoon or evening, you're flooding your kidneys with excess fluid, electrolytes, chemicals, and caffeine. Yes, some of them contain hidden caffeine, and this creates a ripple effect. Your kidneys work harder, your bladder fills more frequently, your prostate, already inflamed, gets compressed further, and your night becomes a cycle of waking, peeing, waiting, and hoping for sleep. Let's pause here. Imagine your bladder as a balloon. A healthy balloon inflates and deflates smoothly, but when it's constantly being overstretched by excessive fluids, irritating chemicals, and hormonal imbalance, it loses elasticity. This is one of the reasons many seniors begin to feel like they can never fully empty their bladder. It's not just prostate pressure, it's also a weakened, exhausted bladder, overstimulated by the very drinks you thought were helping. And now we get to the real deception: vitamin waters. These drinks scream health, with labels like focus, calm, revive, and protect. They seduce you into thinking you're doing something good. But what's inside? Highly processed B vitamins that spike energy temporarily, but lead to crashes later. Artificial flavorings, non-absorbable minerals, and again, hidden sugars. Worse still, many contain citric acid, which is harsh on the bladder lining. When combined with an already enlarged prostate, citric acid increases urinary urgency and irritation. That translates into more nighttime interruptions, a burning sensation, and a weaker flow. Now imagine this compounding over weeks, months, or years. A drink marketed as recovery is actually preventing your body from recovering. A beverage promising hydration is drying out your sleep, and a bottle designed to revitalize you is quietly breaking down your urinary health. But there's something deeper here too. Many seniors turn to these drinks as a form of control. It feels like a healthy habit, like a small ritual in a world where the body sometimes feels unpredictable, and that's understandable. But real control starts with real information. And now that you know what's actually inside these health Drinks, you can make a different choice. What's better? Simple water. Herbal teas like nettle, saw palmetto, or chamomile. Drinks that support your prostate, calm your bladder, and gently balance your hormones without forcing your kidneys into overdrive. Hydration isn't just about liquid, it's about absorption, inflammation, and hormonal harmony, especially after 60. In the next section, we'll uncover a spice that's sitting in nearly every kitchen, one that's supposed to help digestion, but actually inflames the gut and contributes to hormonal stress that feeds directly into prostate dysfunction. And, no, it's not what you think. It's likely sitting in your spice rack right now, golden, fragrant, and praised for centuries. Turmeric, often hailed as an anti-inflammatory miracle, especially in natural health circles. But here's what most people over 60 don't know. In the wrong context, turmeric can actually irritate the gut, disrupt hormone processing, and worsen prostate-related inflammation. How? Let's start with the gut. As we age, the protective lining of our intestines becomes thinner, more sensitive, and less resilient. Turmeric, especially in supplement or extract form, is incredibly potent. While it offers benefits in some cases, high concentrations or daily use without proper balancing nutrients can overstimulate digestive tissues. That can lead to bloating, cramping, and even malabsorption of minerals like zinc and magnesium, both critical for prostate health. And the issue goes deeper. For turmeric to be effective, it must be consumed with fat and with black pepper to enhance absorption. But most seniors sprinkle it on food, add it to tea, or take it in capsule form without the right pairing. The result? It passes through the body poorly absorbed, leaving behind irritation instead of healing. Now let's connect this to the prostate. Your prostate is highly responsive to hormonal shifts, and many of those are regulated in the liver. Turmeric stimulates liver activity. For some, this is helpful, but for aging bodies already under metabolic stress, overactivation can throw off hormone clearance, leading to excess circulating estrogen and a drop in usable testosterone. The perfect hormonal imbalance to trigger prostate enlargement. And here's the paradox. What's marketed as anti-inflammatory might be pro-inflammatory in the wrong dosage, form, or frequency. Even worse, some turmeric powders are contaminated with lead or fillers, especially cheap imports. Lead is toxic to every system, but especially the kidneys and reproductive organs. Over time, it accumulates, feeding systemic inflammation and contributing to urinary urgency, poor bladder control, and nighttime restlessness. You thought you were helping your body, but it's not your fault. The truth is rarely printed on the label. So what's the solution? Use turmeric sparingly, in whole root form. When possible, cooked into meals with healthy fats like olive oil or coconut oil, and always paired with a pinch of black pepper. Skip turmeric supplements unless guided by a health professional. And most importantly, listen to how your body reacts, especially in your sleep and urination patterns. In the final section, we'll reveal how to undo the damage, not with magic pills, but with a few powerful food swaps and habits that restore balance, reduce inflammation, and give your body back its voice. By now, you've seen how easy it is to fall into habits that quietly sabotage your health, not through fast food or obvious junk, but through foods marketed as healthy, natural, or energizing. And all the while, your body whispers warnings: poor sleep, constant bathroom trips, leg fatigue, a shrinking sense of independence. But here's the truth. You can reverse this. And it starts in the kitchen. The prostate is not your enemy. It's a messenger. When it swells, when it blocks, when it aches, it's not punishing you. It's protecting you from something deeper: chronic inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and nutritional deficiency. And the first step toward healing is to remove what's harming it. Let's simplify it. First, cut the nightly sugar, especially from fruit juices, sweetened yogurts, and hidden sources like dressings or health bars. Replace them with raw pumpkin seeds, a natural source of zinc, which helps regulate DHT and shrink the prostate over time. Second, avoid processed health drinks. Instead, brew teas like saw palmetto, nettle, or parsley, all proven to support urinary health, reduce inflammation, and rebalance hormone metabolism. They don't just hydrate, they heal. Third, replace refined grains with anti-inflammatory fats. That means extra virgin olive oil, avocados, and ground flaxseed. These nourish the prostate, support blood flow, and stabilize testosterone. Fourth, focus on movement, not intense exercise, but gentle daily walking. Just 20 minutes a day reduces pelvic congestion and helps prevent blood stagnation, which contributes to prostate pressure. And fifth, perhaps most important, prioritize sleep hygiene. Stop fluid intake 2 hours before bed. Keep the room cool and dark, and eliminate all caffeine after 2 p.m. The quality of your sleep determines how well your body heals, balances hormones, and restores strength. You don't need to chase youth, but you do deserve to move without fear, sleep through the night, and live without your health holding you hostage. That kind of freedom doesn't come from a pill. It comes from daily decisions made quietly, consistently, and with intention. And now you have the knowledge. This isn't about restriction, it's about reclamation. Reclaiming your nights, your energy, your dignity. It starts with removing 7 small enemies and choosing foods that serve your strength, not your weakness. You still have time. You still have power. And it begins at the table.